Hello everyone, and welcome to Star Trek Acheron, a Star Trek Adventures 2nd Edition game using the rules by Modiphius Entertainment. My name is E08, the Game Master, and joining me are four lovely individuals who'll meet right away because I have no announcements at all, so that's fun. So we'll start with Sanctum. Sanctum, who you playing and anything you want to shout out?
Hello, I am playing Captain Daisy Soldier. I am not Picard, as you will find out in this forthcoming session. And I'm going to shout out one of my streamer friends, who is Sir Chunks. I will put a link to his page in the chat, so you can all go and follow him because he's awesome.
Awesome, and we might raid them if they're live at the end of this. Cool. Tigdam, what do you got going on?
Yes, I'm Titan, I'm playing Samara, and there's not a lot going on at the moment.
Okay. Nom Nom, what do you got going on?
Hello, I'm Norm and I play acting chief engineer Aileen Vauban, who has a 50-50 chance of crying again this episode. But yeah, not much going on here as well, so...
My only question is, when you say 50-50 and I look at our past experiences and I'm like, I don't know, is that more maybe a 65-35? Is that maybe more of a 75-25? I'm being annoying.
I'm fair.
He just had 10 threats, so we'll see.
Well, part of that is Chad already gave me a good redeem and an evil redeem, so you are starting with one momentum. But yeah, I took 2 threat from Chad, so thank you, Chad.
So we
but
are
anyway,
50-50.
Arwen, what do you got going on?
I don't see how that's any of your business. Sorry. Hey, everyone. I'm Arwen, and I am playing the Elorian civilian scientist named Azrian. And this body is and will remain lizard baby free for any of you aspiring Gorn out there. Just a warning.
Note to self, introduce Gorn. Okay, let's go ahead and run that intro. We'll get started. All right, and welcome back. So, as is tradition for my Star Trek Adventures games, I have the players do an opening log, and is it Soja this week? I've honestly forgotten.
Oh, bloody hell, I've completely forgotten. Oh.
That's okay, that means we get an improv log. Yay!
This is my problem is that I'm just busy with work half the time. When I'm not doing work, I'm trying to... do other things, and so between last session and this session, it's just I might as well just have fallen asleep for the last week because I can't remember anything.
Tell you what, I'll bail you out. I'll bail you out, and I'll do the opening log. So, what we do is we start with a shot of the Acheron just sort of sitting still in space. And next to it are the stereotypical kit-bashed, standard alien vessel they were used 6,000 times on TNG. But there's 2 of them. And we zoom in to the main conference room of the Acheron. And we, of course, see everyone here. We see Soja, we see Samara, we see Vauban, we see Azrian. But we also see two aliens. One of them is a humanoid that has lobes that would make a Ferengi blush. And what that means, I leave to your imagination. We also see another alien who resembles a humanoid mixed with a kangaroo. And again, I leave that to your imagination. But both of these aliens are giving an impassionate plea to the captain, and will sort of join mid-sentence as the lobed humanoid alien says, "And that is why I feel that I should be given rights to the wormhole in this here area. I do believe that you can see that the contract is very clear, that this is, of course, my claim and not, what was your name again?" And the other alien says, "My name, it is Ewan, but of course you would not know it because the Kalden are... Well, there is a saying among the Kango that there is no good Kalden out there, you are all swine." And see, this is the kind of negotiation I have to deal with when I deal with a Kango. You must understand, Captain, this is why I came to you and trust in, what did you all call it, Starfleet, was it?
Soldier just looks at the two of them with trying to be as stony-faced and impassionate as he possibly can. He doesn't want to give anything away. And he looks at but internally, as Samara probably can tell, he's just thinking, what on earth have we got involved in? This is just nothing to do with us. But Steve pulls his fingers and says, "Yes, we represent the United Federation of Planets." Sorry, I've got a frog in my throat. Sorry, excuse me 1 second.
Well, see, that's exactly what I'm talking about, you know. Even if we had gone to anybody else, they wouldn't have been nice enough to tell us they were having breathing problems. If we had gone to a Kango representative, they would have said something like, "Well, I'm eating the frog because I don't like frogs in general." "Are you saying that the Kango are impossible to have empathy towards a frog? For I assure you, I have many pet frogs at home." Well, that just puts me in an awkward situation. And unless anybody interrupts them, they will continue to banter with one another, which I will not subject you to.
Soldier lets them get into it for a little bit, but then eventually just holds up a hand and just looks at both of them. And then asks them both to sort of, what exactly is it that you want, and what do you want from us?
Well, as a neutral third party, we were hoping you'd be able to decide whether or not either of us has claim to the wormhole in this here area. For, as you can see by the contracts, we both seem to have a legal right to the wormhole, even though we're not able to detect one in the area. But if there is one, I believe it definitely deserves to go to the Kalden. Yes, of course you do, for the Kango claimed this many years before your contract, so I believe that the Kango should be given control of the wormhole, even if it does not exist.
Soldier holds up a hand again and interrupts and saying, "You have contracts for a spatial anomaly."
Well, yes, you know, we're entrepreneur. I don't know the word for it, but well, we're expanding our business, and we thought a wormhole might be a good way to do that.
Who gave you this contract?
Well, it was the Bavarians, of course.
Do they own space?
No, but they're pretty good about sharing information about anomalies.
Well, why would that set a precedent for a contract?
Well, you know, it's one of those things where we pay them, and then they give us this information, and we get here first and stake our claim. But wouldn't you know it, my good Kango friend over here. I am not your friend. My good Kango. I don't know the word for it, but either way, we showed up at the exact same time, and apparently the Bavarians sold the information to both of us. So we're just trying to decide who gets the wormhole, even if there isn't one here.
Then surely your dispute is not with one another, but it's with the Bavarians, who've misled both of you.
And I think they each kind of just go, huh, but as that's going on, I did want to ask Azrian, Samara, and Vauban, what are your all thoughts about this at this point? Are you just sort of like there in the wings? Are you like actively trying to find this supposed wormhole? What's going on in the B team, quote unquote, at the moment?
Rude. I think Azrian would be interested in detecting this wormhole, because if there's no wormhole, there's no contract.
Mm-hmm.
So, and of course, for selfish reasons, maybe we might be able to benefit from this wormhole. So that's where Azrian's interest is. And for now, he's just listening to the conversation to see if there'll be a point where he can interject his observations and his perspective.
Okay. Vauban, what about you?
Yeah, she's keeps opening and closing her mouth, trying to find like moments to interject to ask something, but they just keep talking at each other and talking over her, so she just shrinks more into her seat. So yeah.
Okay.
And just looks a little helpless at Azrian and Samara, but
Okay. So standard Vaubanisms.
yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Okay. Samara, anything you want to add before I start throwing tasks at Azrian and Vauban?
All she's doing at the moment is listening to the conversation, just keeping a bit of an open mind as to the general vibes of the room, and checking. She's got her pad in her hand as usual, and she's just looking at the sensors. First of all, she's hoping that one of the others is probably going to be looking for the anomaly. She knows that Asrian's going to be after it, but for the moment, she's more interested in the tactical layout of these two vessels and the relative technologies.
Okay.
So she's sort of negotiations in the background. What tech do these people have in the foreground?
Okay. Well, that I can answer very easily for you. They are contemporary with NX era technology, so they're a few centuries out of date compared to the Acheron. But Azrian and Vauban, the beautiful part of being on a ship like the Acheron is you can literally scan and run things from a pad, which you would have on hand. So I'll let you two decide who is assisting whom, but this is going to be a reason and science, and the ship will assist you with a sensors and science. And the difficulty is actually going to be a little bit interesting, because I'm actually not going to tell you what the difficulty is. And the reason for that is based on how many successes you get, that's how much information or what information I can reveal to you. So, could be a difficulty 1, could be a difficulty of 5, but all I will tell you is that the more successes you get, the more information you get.
Well, I'm thinking, and Nom Nom, maybe you can give me your perspective too. This wormhole is the linchpin, so we probably should have as much information as we can glean. Which means, to me, it means we should probably try to get as many successes as possible. So I'm willing to
Yeah.
throw in a determination here. I think I would be better at this than you assisting me, but
Yes,
I could
because
be
also
persuaded.
Aileen is not concentrating on the wormhole right now. She's concentrating on the conversation, but I think she does notice that Azrian is like doing some stuff on his pad, and Meki just leans over while she's trying to keep up with the rest of the talks. And so me assisting makes more sense, yes.
Okay. All right. So I would like to use a point of determination and invoke the value. I love the thrill of discovery.
Okay.
and I'd like to make an argument for planar dimensions and realms.
Sure, why not?
Okay. For my focus, and you said so. For the determination, I'd like to get 2 successes.
Okay, so you'll start with 2 free successes.
All right, and I'd also like to spend that point of momentum.
Okay, that'll get you to 3 dice total.
All right. And you said it was a reason science?
Reason science. Mm-hmm. And since you
All
spent that momentum, you do activate cautious science.
Okay, great. Brilliant. Focus. Oh, it's a dedicated focus, I think.
No, nobody in this game has a dedicated focus, so don't worry about that one.
Oh, okay, I'll talk about that later. All right, so 3 die total. Using determination value, rolling dice.
Well, that's already 5 successes, so at this point, an assist can only give you even more good things, so...
I mean, it's the normal 2 dice, right?
Yeah, for an assist, just 1.
Okay.
Hey, 6 successes! So what I'm going to tell you is you actually do get a momentum back from that. And Azrian, you're going to realize this first because you're the one doing the scan. But Vauban, even as you're kind of like trying to pay attention to the conversation, you're looking at the pad. Both of you realize exactly what is in this area of space. And if this is right, this might be a way to get back home, because what you're seeing is that there are signs that there is a transwarp conduit exit here.
Okay. I get a bonus momentum for using planar realms that I have to spend.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to spend it on an additional question, an obtain information spend. Has the Federation used this before?
This particular transwarp conduit, no. So this isn't something that Voyager would have mapped. You wouldn't know where this transwarp conduit goes, but now that you know it's there, you could potentially use it.
Okay. So I think Azrian would type in a quick text, just 3 exclamation points to Vauban, and like give a look like, oh my god.
I mean, she has a very similar reaction, like her eyes just go wide, staring at the pad, staring at Azrian, and then having learned from her experience with the Bavarians and that she said things that she shouldn't have said, she just kind of stares at Soja and starts to kind of wildly gesturing and trying to hint that they need to talk and gesturing towards the door. Not subtle at all. And also she just gasps when she like sees the...
And I'm gonna being a little more seasoned person with the socialization and talking. I'm going to, because I've been listening to the conversation and I know it's been circular with these two and with Soja, and I'm going to say, Soja, I'm noticing that the conversation appears sorry. I'm noticing that both parties have stated both their cases well. Perhaps this is a good point for a brief adjournment.
He nods and he goes, "We will take a 20-minute recess. We will reconvene shortly. If you two would like to be taken to separate quarters so you can rest and recuperate, and we shall reconvene presently."
Yes, that would be acceptable. Well, if it's all the same to you, Captain, I actually would rather want to sample your cuisine, because the Caldans are all about cuisine.
He looks at Samara and says, "Please take them to the canteen and entertain them, Commander."
Her eye just twitches and she goes, "Certainly, sir. If you two will follow me." And she heads and just gives him a little bit of a glare and heads out.
What's
All
the
right.
mark?
I put my finger. I look at Soja and I look at Vauban, and I put my finger to my lips, like quiet. And I wait, and I wait for to hear the door hiss,
Mm-hmm.
and then I wait like another minute, and then I say, "Sorry, big ears. Who knows how far the range is?" Okay. Referring to, was it Vec?
Vec the Calden, yeah.
Vec the Calden. Soja, may we have a word?
You can have several.
Good. I think you're going to like what we have to hear. We have some encouraging news, potentially. Vauban?
Their wormhole, that they are arguing about, it's a Borg transwarp conduit.
Right.
And
Is it
she's just
functional?
looking at him excited, like as if expecting more of a reaction.
That's
It
a
could
corridor
potent-
in space-time, correct?
Yes,
Yes.
which could potentially lead back to your home space.
Soldier's science score is 1. I'll point out. This
Fair.
is why he's not getting
Gotcha.
excited in any way. He's like, and this is relevant because it's
Because it could take us back home. I mean, it wouldn't be easy or, well, safe, but it's a solution,
Potentially.
potentially.
Is this not Borg technology?
Yes.
Can we utilize it without alerting the Borg?
Unknown.
I mean, we could look at Voyager's logs. For sure, maybe there's something that could help us in there, but at least I wouldn't dismiss the idea of trying to figure out what we could do with this if it helps us get home.
He folds his arms and thinks about it for a few moments. Let us not assume that this is Borg technology. We are aware that there is an ancient civilization that has got remnant technology. It could be one of theirs, particularly if the Bivarians are aware of it. Quite why they would offer this information for free, or rather why they would give this information and a contract out to two spacefaring races to control it. I mean, we should really look at the terms and conditions of these contracts, because they don't sound like they're worth a damn.
Was it specifically a Borg transwarp conduit?
Yeah, it is a Borg transwarp conduit.
Okay. Captain, I want to gently challenge that assumption. You could be right, but all of these readings strongly align with the parameters that the Borg use in their technology.
It's true, it's a very distinct signature, but I don't think we can know how old this conduit is.
This is quite troubling. Up to now, we did not assume the Borg had actually made inroads into this area of space. And if that's the case, utilizing this tunnel by anybody, either ourselves or our alien compatriots, could garner the interest of the Borg and bring them back to this space. And I would not want to put the Acheron between the Bivarians and the Borg in a full-scale war. Can
I
you
don't
check when it
know
was
who
last
I would-
utilized? Are you able to do that?
I'm sure we can figure something out, yes?
Good. Right. You two, form a task force. I want you to gain access to the Borg conduit logs and control system. And once we've got a full diagnostic of when it was last used and how to utilize it, then we can report back. And I want Phobon, you're in charge.
We could also use some intel on what the Federation knows about current Borg activity.
Good. Get on it. Proceed.
I'm a little concerned, though. Since the Bavarians gave these contracts to these two, that means they are aware of this area, so would they know that we're here?
I'm assuming, and this is an assumption. In fact, scratch that. I'm not going to make any assumptions with the Bavarians. Get on, and he taps his badge and goes, Anara, I want you to do long-range scans. I want to find out where the Bavarians are in relation to us at this moment in time.
And that was to Samara, or was that towards someone else?
That's to Onara, Lieutenant Onara, the ops manager.
I just wanted to make sure I heard correctly. And
Yes,
she says,
that's-
right away, sir. I'll get right on that.
So Soldier looks at these two and goes, "You have your orders."
Yes, Captain?
Yes, sir.
All right. As we
Alien
cut to
goes-
the C team, which is Samara and the aliens, Samara, would you have taken them to the main canteen, the main 2 forward or 2 aft, or wherever the heck our lounges? Would you have taken them there? Would you have just taken them to quarters and been like, this is a replicator? Like, how are you handling these aliens?
She doesn't really want them to get too enamored with the replicators, so she's taken them. I presume there's some sort of bartender, or at least an emergency bartending hologram. So she's taken them to sort of, I think you said 2 forward, and she's just trying to set them down in a booth, and just is going to treat them to some treats.
Okay. I don't know why threat is becoming relevant, but okay. I don't know why you're giving them threat. That's my treat. Jokes aside. So you do what we see is apparently stereotypical for some reason when we have an alien species that's humanoid-esque. Apparently, according to TNG, we give them ice cream. I don't know why, but we do. So you get them each a banana split, and they start giving their very, very interesting perspectives on such. But I will spare you from that back and forth, because Samara, as you are supervising, you get a ping on the Troy channel. And specifically, you are sensing that it's not the bliss field per se, but you are sensing something very similar to what you felt while you were on the habitat with your first formal meeting with the Bavarians.
Okay, so is this emanating from the pair?
No, this is just a general feeling. You can't really single out like a direction, but you are determining that a similar sensation is becoming more and more present.
Okay, so she's going to continue to just talk to them about some. Essentially, she's just going to try and keep them busy with stuff. I'm just going to read one of my things for a second.
Mm-hmm. Because you do have ESP, extrasensory perception. We'll even put it in chat. Oh, God, that did not format at all. Oh, God.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at. I was wondering whether should I use this or should I not? Ooh, Like,
Oh,
over it.
God. All right. So, reading between the lines here, it looks like if you give me a threat, I can give you a hint.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to give you a threat. I'm going to hopefully find some hint as to the general distance and to whether this is an increasing thing or whether we've just wandered into it.
Okay. And actually, it looks like Azrian also has ESP. So guess what? I'm going to be nice and say you both get the benefit of this threat spend. So what that's going to mean is that Azrian and Samara, you come to realize that there may be a Bavarian vessel of some kind headed in your direction.
Ooh, okay.
Okay,
So,
well,
go ahead.
go ahead.
This is your scene, not mine.
Well, as soon as she hears that, and she's got PDA on her as always, I think while she's trying to do this, she just types that out, that she has a familiar sensation, and it's basically just sent to the senior staff to say, familiar, the Bavarians are coming. I can feel them, that they're on the way at the moment. Checking, she also wants to send a message in that chat to see whether the transporter inhibitors are still turned into a blocking field, or whether they can still be changed back, or whether they're now permanently as a blocking field. Because she didn't have the chance to check yet. And all this while trying to provide treats to the two aliens.
Okay. So what I would tell you is that you would get the thing back that the transport inhibitors are still in blocking mode for the bliss field. And it's just a simple action to change them back into transport inhibitors, kind of a thing.
Okay. I think she's going to talk to the aliens now. I think she's going to ask both of them came, yeah? Both of them are there with her?
Yeah, both the aliens are there, if that's what you mean. Or did I mishear?
No, that was right. I got sidetracked for a second. So she's just going to turn to them and say, oh, okay. So, from my understanding, you got both these contracts from the Bavarians. Is this the sort of thing that you do on a regular basis? Have you seen a lot of the Bavarians around these parts?
Well, they don't usually leave their space, but we have had similar dealings in the past, if that's what y'all mean.
Yeah, and how have those dealings gone? Positive?
I would say so. Overall, we've been able to raise our fourth quarter earnings, if you get my meaning.
I do. And it's we've had only limited contact with them for the moment, so we're a little bit curious about how they treat other civilizations in the general vicinity, whether they've, as you say, they've traded with you. Have you heard anything about any other civilizations trading with them, or?
Well, you did not hear this from me, but pretty much every civilization in the immediate area has either traded with or become a part of the Bavarian Empire. In fact, I'm pretty sure that at some point they will make an overture to us, and this one as well, pointing at his fellow. I'm pretty sure that at some point they will try to recruit us to their mighty empire.
And I presume you would be amenable to that?
Well, I can't say I'm really opposed to such an idea, but it sort of just depends what it means for us as a society.
Absolutely, and that's the sort of thing that we're trying to find out and see how they are. As I say, we've had limited contact with them, but not so much contact with others around them. It seems to just be Bavarians or nothing. Both your civilizations, or both of you, are the first that we've really encountered in months.
Well, if there's anything you want to know, I'm happy to provide it, though I am curious, what is this brownish substance that is on top of, you called it ice cream?
Yes.
Is this some kind of sauce?
The The ice cream itself, I believe, is made out of a kind of milk that is then spun together with some sugars. The sauce itself, I'm not sure. I believe that's chocolate sauce. It's made from cocoa, which is a plant native to Earth. And so ice cream's also native to Earth. It's one of the founding well, actually, yes, one of the founding civilizations of the Federation of Planets.
Well, this here all chocolate, you called it? This chocolate is very nice. I like it quite a bit.
Yes.
Well, personally, I find it disgusting. It is too good. It is too sugary for my liking.
Well, we always have alternatives. So you prefer something savory?
And as Samara gets into the culinary delights of the aliens, we briefly cut back to Soja. So Soja, if I read Soja correctly, you've probably gone back to your ready room at this point. You would have
Yes.
gotten that report from Samara and possibly Azrian that the Bavarians are coming. The Bavarians are coming.
No, Azrian is sophisticated enough to know with his ESP that Samara would have done that for him.
Okay.
Do we have an ETA?
And the officer says, well, sir, at current speeds, they will be here in 2 hours' time, sir.
Right, thank you. He taps his comm badge and says, Commander Samara.
Go ahead, Captain.
Are you still with our guests?
I certainly am.
Can you excuse yourself for a few moments and come and see me in my ready room?
Apologies, gentlemen, but as you heard, the captain wants me. Lieutenant, you should see to our guests, please. I have somewhere else to be. I will catch you two later.
And of course, the aliens are still bickering over chocolate. So, they let you depart as a poor lieutenant takes over.
Yeah.
But sort of a jump later, we just sort of see the doors open to the ready room, and in walks Samara.
Commander, we have 2 hours until the Bavarians arrive in this sector. This is going to these negotiations make them somewhat difficult.
If we continue these negotiations at all, we have a few options. We could, their technology is not as advanced as our own. We could intercept the Bavarians and see what they want, or potentially see whether we could run. We could engage them, or I get the feeling that something else has been found in my absence.
The wormhole is not a wormhole. It's a transwarp conduit. It is a Borg space-time tunnel.
Okay. Computer
beeps.
What's the current status of the Borg according to Federation records? Are they still active, or have they been destroyed yet?
The Borg are still recuperating from the heavy blow dealt to them by the U.S.S. Voyager during its return mission to Earth. They have largely become recluses in the edges of the Delta Quadrant.
Well, we could outpace them to this Borg conduit and see whether it's intact. It could be, since they sent these people here, it could be a trap. That there may be some interference around it, since it messes with space, essentially. There are plenty of options, but what are you feeling?
I have Lieutenant Vauban and Azrian investigating the transwarp conduit. We need to give them as much time as possible to complete their analysis and come to a conclusion as to how we can utilize this tunnel. It may be that it is something that we can utilize, and then we can broker a deal with these two alien species. But we need to be careful. The Bavarians are on their way, and we do not want to tip our hand to them. I am prepared to battle over this potential way back to the Alpha Quadrant. I'm just making you aware that this could get ugly. But I will not miss up this opportunity to get my people back home.
Well, that's certainly a pleasant thing to hear from you, soldier. So, we need more information on this transwarp conduit. We know that the Bavarians are roughly technologically equivalent to ourselves. These two ships would be no problem to escape or disable to prevent any should they won't pose an issue. Bavarians will. And even if we get to the transport conduit, there's no guarantee we'll be able to activate it in time. We don't know whether there are still active Borg there or not. Or, as I say, we don't know whether there is a potential trap here. We don't know where this goes. Unless
I need to get back into the negotiations and try and put this to an end to it as quickly as possible. I want you to take control of this tactical situation.
Well, then I need to ask you, are we going to try and negotiate with them and try and come up with some deal, or are we going in there expecting a fight? Because we can't pour our resources into this conduit if we're going to be expecting a fight with the Bavarians.
I will not authorize firing the first shot, but we will defend ourselves. We need to spend as much time at this conduit as possible. If there is an attack, we will reciprocate, and you are authorized to use full force.
If we get towards this conduit, am I allowed to utilize Borg technology? Or is that something that you don't want me touching? Borg facilities
we can't risk activating the Borg technology and summoning the Borg. We must understand it before we start putting our fingers into things that we shouldn't.
I've had a little bit of experience with Borg technology. It was my family, I don't know if you know, my family was in charge of a shipyard and weapons development. Some of the technology that the Borg, that we captured from the Borg during their annihilation, was transferred over to us. So I do have some limited knowledge of it, so I can certainly be helpful there. But some of these Borg facilities are armed. There's plenty of things we could do, but if we want to fight them, we may want to fight them near this node in case it has any weapons that could be brought to bear against our enemies. And if let's say a Borg vessel does happen to pull through, we could potentially slip by it, destroy the node, and leave the Bavarians to deal with the Borg. It just depends how far you wish to go.
He thinks about that. I will not risk breaking General Order 1. And I would consider bringing the Borg back to the Delta Quadrant to be a breach of the Prime Directive. That is not a course of action I'm willing to do. Therefore, do not engage with the technology, but please, by all means, utilize your existing knowledge to work with Vauban and Asrian. But it's the tactical situation I want you to take to prioritize while I go and speak with these aliens. Perhaps we can get something worked out. He stands up and he goes, "Yeah, you have the con." And he points a finger almost accusatory and says, "Do not let me down."
All right. We now cut to the science team. And Azrian and Vauban, where would you be for this? A science lab, main engineering, a different science lab? Because the Acheron does happen to have a modular laboratory. So you could quite literally spin up a laboratory for this case, and it would grant you the trait of having a transwarp laboratory. So it would lower the difficulty of all your tasks.
Yes, that please.
Okay.
You're
Actually,
giving us
nom
these
nom. If you
options too easily.
have,
No, I'm always a strong component or a proponent of making sure that we use every ship talent to its fullest. So,
but we'll make sure it's close to engineering in case we need engineering as backup.
okay. So, the transwarp lab, at least as far as I would like to imagine it, it's kind of very, well, for lack of a better way to say this, it's very Borg themed. It's got like pseudo Borg regeneration chambers. It's got, you know, the Borg trappings of transwarp coils and technology, and it's a very fun room to walk in because it's like, oh, did I walk into a Borg cube kind of a thing.
Yeah,
But
you
of
and I
course,
have
none of it's actually active
drastically
Borg.
different
It's,
ideas of fun.
yeah, you know, it's not actually active Borg, but, you know, whoever designed this modular laboratory program was very thorough in making sure it felt like a Borg vessel.
Yeah, maybe the light is just blue instead of green.
There you go.
That makes it good.
Yeah.
Oh, would you look at that? Chat's giving me a treat. I'm at 13 threat. Would you look at that? Anyway, carry
Oh,
on.
stop it.
Uh-oh.
Behave.
dear.
Oh my God, that's not a good number. Okay. I'm gonna shut up now. Azrian is looking unsettled, to say the least. Hey, Vauban.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's like looking up from like her console that she's doing stuff at.
Yeah, I think I need a virtual hot chocolate moment.
Are you okay?
No, I'm not okay. This is terrifying me.
You mean the Bavarians or the wormhole, or she doesn't really understand because she doesn't really have any negative reaction or connotation with like the Borg equipment. So
I mean, my civilization was wiped out by this species, and being surrounded by it is bringing back a lot of bad memories. I mean, I wasn't there personally, but it's it's all visual reminders of a terrifying, terrifying, terrifying power. So I could use a little moral support.
alien face just falls and oh god, I'm so sorry. Should we work somewhere else? We can take some of this and just move. Should we move to your ship maybe instead?
I think it makes sense to work here. I am a scientist first and foremost, and this is the most rational place to work. I would appreciate you taking the lead a little bit on this investigation. And maybe just a shoulder, a hand on my shoulder once in a while or something. Or if
Yeah,
you notice me
sure.
getting jittery or something, just
Yeah.
you remind me.
We
Just remind me that we're safe.
Yeah, we are. This is all just recreated technology. There's no nanoprobes, no anything, but obviously this doesn't really fix anything, does it?
No,
Let's
but
just
it
make
helps.
it.
It helps more than you know. Okay, so I think we need a map. We need to see Voyager's journey, all Voyager's technical specs on the. It was called the Voyager, right? I did see that. I did glance that name.
Yes, the
in
U.S.S.
the
Voyager.
records.
It's one of the few ships that ever spent time in the Gamma Quadrant. So
Delta
we
Quadrant.
have most of our information from them, but that was years ago. So it's a little outdated, and
Okay.
so it would it's at least going to be helpful in some way, but
Sure. It
their
looks like they.
specs.
Oh, it looks like they destroyed the conduit. They destroyed the interspatial manifolds.
And she comes over and looks over his shoulder at the
So it looks like
data.
this might not get us all the way home. It looks like there's just localized portions remaining.
We don't know exactly. It's possible that it was just one of the central collections of transwarp conduits. We have no idea, to be honest.
Okay, well, let's divide and conquer here. I will tackle the scientific aspects of traveling through this conduit, and you can tackle the engineering parts, such as how we need to prepare the ship's propulsion systems and defense shields and deflector systems. And I will look at access codes and some of the physics involved in traveling through. Does that make sense to divide it that way?
Of course, and like this time she actually like smiles like more happily. I mean, warp field dynamics are my specialty, so
Yes, they
this whole
are.
thing is right up my alley. So don't worry, I got this handled.
That makes me feel better.
She's like, Aileen is really not used to be the one to be supportive. So she's out of her depth here. So about that chocolate.
Might not be safe to have it, but we'll have a range. We'll put a pin in that, and maybe we'll plan to have that later.
All right. So, I'm just debating what role to do first. Why don't we do the mapping of the conduit? Because that seems more relevant than accessing. Well, I guess technically you need to access it to get the map in the first place. Yeah, let's do the
They
accessing.
don't know about the time limit, right?
Yeah, you do have a time limit.
Yeah, but we don't know. We didn't get told.
Well, I told you. I'm
What?
going to assume I told you because I knew the time limit.
Yeah, so
Oh, you
Azrian
can
might not
clearly-
know. Azrian might not know the specific 2 hours, but he knows that the Bavarians are coming all the same.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot. I meant to mention that at the beginning of and I got sidetracked by all the Borg stuff. So
Yeah, you're good.
Okay,
All right,
so Aileen is a little bit more stressed.
Of course, you know, if Vauban isn't stressed, is she really existing? All right, so let's do an axis of the transwarp here. This is not literally putting the ship into the transwarp. This is just sending out sensor data and trying to get a ping off the network. This is going to be a control and engineering, and the ship will assist with a communications and engineering. The difficulty on this will be a 3. And of course, Vauban, you do have a focus in where is it? In warp field dynamics.
I thought Azrian was doing that.
Oh no, I mean, well, this makes sense to me to have you roll it, and I'll roll the ship.
Okay.
Because you're the engineer, and this is I think your engineering score is probably higher than mine.
Well, no help from the Acheron, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So what was it?
Control and engineering.
Okay.
And I need to see 3 successes here. And since the ship didn't assist, probably want to buy some additional dice here.
More threat. I think it's getting dangerous with threats. And I think I've better maybe if I use a momentum
Okay.
instead.
So 3 dice for 1 momentum.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I have... I mean, I could argue for either reverse engineering or also ancient technology, because the Borg are pretty old
This is
for
true.
the focuses.
Suffice to say, you have a multitude of focuses that would apply here.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna roll with 3 dice then.
Mm-hmm. And you get 4 successes, so you actually get that momentum right back. So,
nice.
Vauban, you not only get access to the transwarp conduit, but this will now actually make Azrian's subsequent follow-up roll even easier. So, Azrian, this was going to be a reason con, assisted by the Acheron's computers con, was going to be a difficulty of 5. However, the success you just got lowers it to a 4, and you're in the transwarp laboratory, lowers it to a 3.
Okay, great. And so it's going to be I'm sorry, it was a con and a what?
Con and reason.
Con and reason. And because I have visit every star,
Mm-hmm.
if I succeed, it's just a navigation related check.
Technically, this does count as navigation.
All right, I get a bonus momentum due to my knowledge and familiarity, but that can't be saved. So I'll just spend that on a obtain information spend. Okay, so if someone could grab this ship for me to assist me, I will spend another momentum.
What's the ship rolling?
Computers and con.
Computers plus con.
And I'm gonna have 3 die. And can I use like astrometrics or astrophysics as a...
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Oh, the Acheron is not helping us today.
Okay.
Ooh.
So you bought that extra die with momentum?
Yes.
Okay, just want to make sure. So I can offer you a success with a complication.
Okay.
All right. So you do get a map of the conduit. However, this does not get you home. As in, it will not get you back into Federation space. And the reason for that is because when the Borg were destroyed, their transwarp conduit network sort of fell by the wayside. And overall, this is a lesser used conduit. So it only goes so far. But the complication is basically that instead of being at, say, the joining of the Delta and Gamma quadrant where you currently are, this would get you to the very, very far reaches of the Alpha quadrant. So we're talking on the other side of not only Bajoran and Cardassian space, but we're talking almost all the way out to the Great Galactic Barrier, that far out.
Let's go.
Is the travel time any different from there to from where we're at now?
It's a little longer, but the good news is that there are ways to communicate with Federation outposts and such that are on the frontier. So it's kind of a, if we go that route, we're a little farther away from home, but we also can talk to home a little bit easier, if you get my meaning.
Let's see. I'm going to report these findings to the captain, Vauban. I have a backup plan. Well, actually, that wouldn't work. Never mind. Actually, if we sent a probe through, a communications probe, to the Alpha Quadrant, would that get our position or our status to Federation HQ or Starfleet HQ quicker?
Conceivably.
Okay.
And one thing I should qualify real quick, because they literally just dropped transwarp rules on us in the new technical manual. The beautiful part about a transwarp conduit, at least according to the rules, is that the transwarp conduit can be exited at any point. So if you would like to imagine kind of a diagram of the galaxy from the top down, you guys are very much at the top, very like center top, and the transwarp conduit exits out, somewhere to center left. And technically, you could exit the transwarp conduit any point in between there. So if you wanted to go, say, halfway towards home on the hypotenuse, or you wanted to go halfway towards the other exit and then drop out, you certainly could do so. So there are ways to cut your travel time down, but it just is a little bit difficult to do so.
Could we,
Yep.
therefore, I'm just asking this out of character, drop into the Gamma Quadrant and then try to head towards the Bajoran wormhole?
That is something that is possible, yes.
How would you feel as a GM if we decided to do that?
I am all for it. I would have not put this transwarp conduit here if I was not prepared for the eventual realities that could occur.
Okay, that's cool.
We have 13 threads. He could drop us anywhere.
No, let's not think about that right now.
They would have found
ELH
your
would never
homeworld.
do anything like that to us.
Vauban, you're the ranking officer here. I'm just a civilian. Do you think you should report these findings to him?
I mean, from what I understood, we don't have much time. So you go see Captain Soja, and I'm going to prepare a way to get us in the transwarp conduit at all to begin with. I think that's our best option. I don't think we
Yes.
have time to send a probe. Or at least I'm not sure.
Yes, sir. I'll get right on it. And I'll step into a turbolift. Bridge.
All right. So, Azrian, before you enter the conference room off of the bridge, you do find Samara. And Samara, you were told you are in control of this situation while the captain does negotiations. So you see Azrian step off the turbolift.
And she's at the tactical console going through the systems. So, Azrin, you have something?
Yes, Samara. I was about to brief the captain, but
Captain's... Yep. Sorry,
I'll brief you.
Yes, please. We're running out of time. We have less than 2 hours before they're here.
I'll keep it quick. We can't take the. It is possible to access the conduit. We cannot take the conduit all the way home because of the damage that Voyager did to it. We can use it to get to various points that would bring us potentially closer to home with some difficulty.
What kind of difficulty are we talking? Is there a chance that we could end up dropping somewhere where we don't want to be? Or can we decide to move out of this conduit? Do you know the
No.
limits?
With relativistic factors in place, and of course, Schrodinger factors and all kinds of other variables, yes, it is possible.
What's your take on it?
My take on it is life is worth living, and we could either sit here and be safe or take a risk.
Oh, we're certainly not safe here, are we? Probably the question is, do we want Borg or do we want Bavarians?
I'm not a command officer, Samara. These are decisions that need to be made by command officers.
No, but you are a person, and you know more than most of this crew.
Well, thank you.
You more than most people on this crew know just how dangerous the Borg are.
Yes, I do.
So your opinion's more valuable than some others. So what do you think? Do you think we should go for it?
I think the Borg are a tomorrow problem. I think the Bavarians knocking on our front door are a more pressing concern. And we don't know anything about them other than they have possession of a ancient, powerful technology, and they haven't shown us all the hands that they have in their deck.
Absolutely, and that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get us ready for battle. Though,
How's that coming?
well, I've got decisions to make. Unfortunately, the captain denied me the resources that I needed to make anything fancy or upgrade the systems any, so we're stuck with standard Starfleet weaponry.
Well,
But on the bright side, we can potentially block anybody from getting in. We could potentially intercept torpedoes, but on the negative side, if we do that, we'll leave our mines exposed. So it's, do we want our mines exposed, or do we want to stop torpedoes from slapping into the ship?
you know, Samara, you can only prepare for so much. If you're asking my advice, I would recommend do the best you can to prepare for the worst, but invest in the most important asset you have, and that is your instincts, and that is your skills, and that is your capabilities.
Certainly. I'm hardly going to go down without a fight now, am I?
No, I think a lot of things can be said about you, but a quitter and someone who's going to not go down without a fight is not one of them.
And how's Verbon holding up?
I'm glad. What did you say?
Did I cut you off there? Sorry.
That's okay. Yeah, I got cut off a bit. But what did you say?
I can't remember now. What was your bit?
I think you were asking if Vauban was okay.
Yes, Vauban, okay.
Vauban is great. Vauban took charge. Vauban helped me when I was feeling vulnerable and scared with the Borg, and decisive, and she's taking charge in engineering and getting us ready to enter the conduit. She has things under control.
So she's working the conduit angle then.
Yes, she is.
Has she decided how she's going to do it?
She is well on her way.
That's good. That's very good. She's in engineering for a reason.
Mm.
Right, so I'm literally loading the torpedo banks as we speak. Do you think Soja needs a hand, or are you going to return?
Well, I might be able to. I might have some skills that can help Soja. If you give me permission to help him.
By all means.
Very good.
Don't have too much fun.
All right. So, before we go to Soja in the middle of a negotiation, we're actually going to go back to main engineering, where Vauban, you are trying to figure out how to get the Acheron into that transwarp conduit. And I think Shifty at this point is like, I will be blunt. For once, you have had a brilliant idea, but I am not sure about the efficacy of getting us in there unharmed.
No, but it's the better alternative than staying here and dealing with the Bavarians.
Well,
We need to get away from them, as far away from them as possible.
This is true. I would not want to deal with the Bavarians myself, but tell me, what is your idea for getting us in there? Are we going to come up with a transwarp coil? How are we getting in there in the first place?
So from what I understood, we have several, out of character, several ways of getting into the conduit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And knowing that we actually have like replicated Borg technology and that we have a manufacturing array in the ship, how easy would it be to just create a transwarp coil?
Oh, it'd be difficult, but it is possible. So I'll outline your options. If you just wanted to use a modulated tachyon pulse to open an existing transwarp conduit, That's going to be a difficulty of 4. If you wanted to create a transwarp coil from scratch, that would be a difficulty of 5. Now, the trade-off is that the tachyon pulse requires just 1 roll to get into the conduit. You literally just do the tachyon pulse and you're in. The transwarp coil, you have to make the coil first, but then whenever you go and use transwarp, you're actually not limited by needing a conduit. If you have a coil, you can create your own conduit for a time. So technically, you could go straight home. You wouldn't have to use the conduit that's already existing. You could just go, oh, I want to go home, and you could go home.
We could have done that the whole time.
Yep.
No. What do you mean? Oh, God.
Though I will warn you that the transwarp coil, if any complications are rolled on it, on the creation of it, that will definitely affect where the coil takes you, if you get my meaning.
We still have 13 frets.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds bad.
It's not 13 threat, it's 13 fun.
It's 13 fun, that's true. It's 13 fun. We should rename that into 13 fun.
What, 13 fighters?
Fun, just. And the friends we made along the way. The fun friends. Sorry, what did Shifty say there last?
Oh, Shifty's just wondering how you plan to get into the conduit.
Okay. So, like, Aileen is really like, this is her field, and as Asrian put it, for once she's finally like more in charge of things this time. So she's thinking to herself, so Shifty, we have 2 ways and we should probably explore both of them. We don't know how much time we have, since I assume she doesn't know about the 2 hours exactly still. So we can either direct a tachyon pulse towards the transwarp conduit to activate it, or we just create a coil. But I was hesitant to use that as an option, as it's very difficult to make, and I don't know if we have the time for it. But
well, whatever you decide, and I mean this with all due respect, for once I have your back.
Thank you. I appreciate that, really.
Yes, do not get used to it, for this is one of the rare times where I will not argue and berate you. I do this not because I like you or anything, but because this is very serious.
Understood. So let's prepare the tachyon pulse, and as a backup, let me look into how much time it would take to make the coil. I mean, we can't do both at the same time, right?
No, unfortunately, this is something where Vauban either has to be working on the tachyon pulse or you have to be working on making the coil. Your expertise is the key factor here.
Okay. I mean, if someone tells her about the time limit, then she would take the pulse.
Okay. And just to make it easier on the decision, I think Samara and Asrian discussing this on the bridge, it would have filtered down to main engineering at this point, so you would know of the time limit.
Okay, so yeah, we have no time for the coil, as it seems, after she gets the information. Let's take care of that tachyon pulse.
Okay.
And let's make sure nothing goes wrong.
Okay. So, before we cut away, one thing I do want to offer, since again, these are new rules that literally came out in the 2nd edition technical manual, is that you can make a trait or some kind of advantage, I think it literally is just a trait though, that actually makes it harder for the transwarp conduit to damage you. Yes, you heard that right. That for every hour you spend in a transwarp conduit when you're not in a Borg vessel, there is a chance that the ship can be damaged. So by doing things like adding structural integrity fields, chronoton fields, temporal shielding, all these things can go to resisting the damage that transwarp could cause to your ship. So before we cut away, Vauban, would you like to shore up a structural integrity field? Would you like to maybe kick on some chronoton shielding and anything like that that you can think of?
I mean, I know that, from the ship information, that technically we have reinforced plating.
Mm-hmm.
At least from the Star Trek Online information. And
that is not one of our talents and special rules.
No, it's true. I'm checking right now. So I think it would make sense to reinforce the structural integrity.
Okay, well, let's try and get you some momentum then. So, Vauban, this is going to be a control and engineering. The ship will assist you with a structure engineering. This is a difficulty of 2.
Okay, so control engineering. And
you definitely have a focus on this one.
Yeah. Maybe manufacturing to make it easier to upgrade the structural integrity.
That or warp field dynamics. You would know of the degrading effects of transwarp conduit, so...
True.
But yeah, if someone wants to grab the ship, structure engineering for the ship.
I will roll.
Oh, go ahead.
Hey, ship assisted you, so I only need to see at least one success from Vauban for this to pull off.
I think you should. I think maybe using a momentum, and then I can hopefully get it back.
Sure.
It's like a plan, because this is the important part. So 3 dice. Let's go.
You get 5 successes, so you actually get 3 momentum back for your trouble. So you're now at 4 momentum. Well done.
Yeah.
There we go.
So
Easy.
I'm going to add structural integrity, and I'll give it 1 so that we have it on the board. So yeah, you are just ordering your engineers to shore up the structural integrity, whether that's force fields, whether that's bulkheads, whatever you're doing, you now have the trait, which will make it a little bit harder for the transwarp conduit to damage you. It is at this point, though, that we are going to cut to Soja in the conference room before Samara maybe comes barging in with Azrian. So at this point, Captain, negotiations aren't going anywhere. These people are very passionate about who, this thing belongs to, and again, they still don't know that it's a transwarp conduit, but they are they're not ready to go to blows over it, but they are pretty much doing everything in their power to wine and dine you to give them the permission to have the wormhole, or what they think is a wormhole.
Soldier has listened to them for probably 45 minutes, going backwards and forwards, and he's becoming more and more annoyed. He's getting more and more short-tempered until he finally just looks at them and goes, "Enough. What does the contract actually say?" And he looks go on.
As you can see here, and he holds up their equivalent of a pad, it says that we have exclusive rights to the wormhole in the area.
And what does your contract say?
It says the same thing, that we have exclusive rights to the wormhole in the area.
Soldier takes both the pads and puts them side by side and just tries to just look to see if they are exactly the same.
Insight and command, difficulty of 1.
What can possibly go wrong? I'm gonna. Can I use my diplomacy?
Diplomacy or composure at this point, really.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go for composure because that's much more soldier. Okay, so I'm not gonna use any. I'm gonna use 1 point of momentum, so just to give myself that extra die.
Okay.
And I'm gonna roll.
And for 1 momentum, you get 2 back, bringing you up to 5. So, Soja, at first glance, yes, the contracts are identical. However, as you look into them a little bit more deeply, you realize that the Kaldans, Vec the Kaldan, the one with the lobes, his contract is older than Iwin's, the Kango's. So
Right.
technically, Vec's claim would supersede the newer claim.
Soldier just stops and looks at them both and says, "What did you give the Bavarians for this?"
Well, as I said, the Kaldans are very much about cuisine, so we gave them our finest cookbooks.
And you?
Well, I do not know why it is any of your business, but in the interest of cooperation, we gave them stellar chart data of our space.
He pauses. And he quickly sifts through the terms and conditions because it and then looks at them both and says, "First, I will say, I do not believe that the wormhole is actually theirs to give you. They have no rights over this. It's a spatial anomaly. So entering into a contract seems null and void. They don't own it. What they're effectively doing is leasing you something that isn't in their control. So by what authority do they have to give you this technology or this information?"
Well, I would think that's actually very, very clear, Captain. The Bavarians, they are the largest empire in this here area. They have technology that far surpasses even yours. I think that gives them all the right in the world to sell us this information and this claim.
Does it give them the right to, what's a delicate way of putting this? Defraud you? And I'll look at the Kangor.
No, I do not think that this is a case of fraud. Are you saying that the Bavarians used us in some way?
This contract, pointing to the older one, supersedes your contract.
So y'all are saying that the Kaldans have claim to the wormhole?
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that the Bavarians have given a contract out twice. And legally, the pre-existing contract, unless it was reneged off or vacated, would hold. Therefore, this claim, the later claim, is not a valid contract. You've been, as we say in the Federation, ripped off.
And Iwin, the Kango, not very happy to hear this. But before either Vec or Iwin can respond to that, both of them get a hail from their vessels, and they excuse themselves and have a conversation. And Dak says, well, perhaps we can settle this in one way. I'm told that the Bavarian vessel on approach should be here in about 5 minutes, so perhaps we can settle this one way or another with the Bavarians. Yes, I do believe that this is a wise course of action. Captain, we appreciate you mediating, but perhaps we should return to our own vessel for the time being.
You're free to leave.
All right. So the obviously Samara would have put guards on these aliens. The aliens are escorted to the transporter room, as I imagine Samara and possibly Arwen enter to give Soja the news.
Can we wait? Can we even use the transporters because of the?
Oh, you can just
list
toggle those
block?
off. It's literally just a in action to toggle them on or off.
I don't think it's safe to toggle it off when the Bavarians are close by. Just as a thought.
Oh, you know what? You make an excellent point. Let's say that they go through the airlock then instead of the transport. They just go through the airlock. It's fine. It's fine. The aliens will get back to their ship. You're not stealing them. It's fine. I'm not that evil of a GM. I just have 13 threat.
Fun.
Our excuse is our transporters are broken. We can't use them right now.
There you go. But yeah, Soja, you're about to leave when you run into, again, Samara and possibly Arwen, or Azrian, depending on if Azrian wants to be there as well.
Sure.
Do you have an update?
How did things go, Soja?
Laborious. But I think we came to a realization that the Bavarians have not played fair. One of those contracts predated the other one. And they'd sold the same contract twice. And they seem to be able to get away with it by the fact that they are the largest empire. The sooner we get out of here, the better.
Well, please.
Go on, Asrian.
Yes, Samar. We have, I may have some news then that might help with that. Vauban is working on a way to get us through the conduit, which may very well take us closer to home, although you have some decisions to make. And Azrian will present Soja with a pad showing the what's left of the transwarp network. We potentially can exit this network at any point along this route, these routes here, and he points them out.
Soja just looks at some squiggly lines and just sort of nods as if he understands what he's looking at.
All right, and then Azrian, with his insights, notices Soja's automatic
He's science
nodding.
and engineering 1. He's not exactly the sort of guy.
If I can interject real quick, Soja, you have a con of 3, so you would at least be able to tell a stellar map what a stellar map is.
Oh, no.
Anyway, carry on. I just wanted to point that out.
I will have the pad highlight points of interest along the way, strategic points of interest along the way, as they relate to the points on the transwarp exit points on the transwarp conduit.
He does spot where the Bajoran wormhole exit is and goes, "How close can we get to that?"
Reasonably close.
Then that's what we will do.
But of course, there are no guarantees with these things. Borg technology and Federation technology doesn't exactly get along fabulously. But yes, it seems the best course of action to activate this thing. The only question is, are we going to leave it here, or we're going to blow it up on... are we going to do a Janeway, essentially? We have the firepower to do that.
It's not our place to destroy it, and I will not blow it up.
Samar brings up a good point. There is risk with anything, of course. there's also risk staying here with Mother arriving soon, and she is going to mother. She will be mothering.
Well, if it makes your life any more difficult, being redeemed an evil complication in chat. So what's going to happen is the ship shutters, goes to red alert, and your ops officer says, "Sir, the Bavarians are here, and they're already opening fire on us."
To the bridge.
All right. You all run out to the bridge, and you see a Bavarian vessel approaching. This is the first time we've ever seen a actual Bavarian vessel, so I'd like you all to imagine kind of a pyramid structure, similar to the pyramids in Egypt, except that instead of it being in one contiguous part, the top portion of the pyramid is slightly separated, so there's kind of a gap, and there is kind of a rod that runs between the two sections, and the the anti-proton weaponry that's being fired is firing from that rod itself. But if that wasn't enough of your problem, I have 13 threat. I'm going to do something I haven't done in a very long time.
You mean 13 fun? You're going to make things nice. Have a party. Space party.
Because at the same time as the Bavarians begin to arrive and open fire, the transwarp conduit opens.
Oh, God.
And coming out of it is the 13 threat spend. And of course,
it's happening.
As the Borg cube leaves the transwarp network, they immediately blast on all channels, all frequencies. "We are the Borg. Lower your shields and surrender your ships. We will add your biological and technological distinctiveness to our own. Your culture will adapt to service us. Resistance is futile." So that's fun.
Transporter inhibitors online. Spool up the secondary reactors.
So one thing I will point out, because I like to set my players up for success even after dropping Borg cubes on them, is that technically, to get out of here, you just have to make it to the transwarp conduit and do a tachyon pulse. Then you're at it, you can leave, kind of a thing. And I will point out that the Acheron can spend 2 momentum to make it 1 difficulty harder for me to hit you.
That is correct.
I was expecting a cliffhanger.
Oh no, we're not cliffhanging this. We got to resolve this. We're going to resolve this.
Oh, I was expecting a cliffhanger. Okay, nice. Nice.
No, we're going to resolve this. So technically we're in Starship combat, but we're not going to follow the rules where only one person can do a helm action and things like that, simply because we are more in a narrative sense than a full turn order. So if somebody wants to take the impulse action to get you around the Borg cube to the transwarp conduit, you just have to tell me so. There would be a roll required to maybe get you some momentum, but you could then immediately spend that momentum to make it harder for me to hit you.
I'll order Yakut to get us to the entrance.
Okay. Actually, I think, let me double check. They got rid of the action. It's just a minor action to do impulse. Okay. So the impulse, the impulse reactors fire up and the Acheron begins careening around the Borg cube to try to get to the entrance of the transwarp conduit. Do you wish to spend 2 momentum to make the difficulty harder to hit you?
Yes. And can I order Anara Ops to modulate the shields so that it's harder for the to create a condition that makes it difficult to tractor lockers?
So yes, and it is just a action that can be taken. Again, no roll required. The resistance of the Acheron is increased by 2 by taking this action. And I will also say that it makes you +1 harder to tractor beam as well.
Excellent.
Okay. So again, we sort of see the Acheron careening as fast as it can towards the transwarp conduit around the Borg cube. Let me think. Borg, Bavarian. I think the Borg are going to go first. I'm just going to roll a standard d20 to determine who they're going after. 1 through 5 is the Bavarians. A 6 through 10 or 6 through 15 will be one of the lesser aliens that you've been negotiating with. A 16 to 20 will be the Acheron. Well, it seems that our lucky winners are the poor little aliens that... Yeah, so the Borg are apparently interested in the Kango and the Kaldan, and the Borg cube begins to fly over and tractor beam and attempt to assimilate those vessels. So that's their action. And then the Bavarians are actually going to kind of chase after you towards this transwarp conduit. And they will open fire. They are at a difficulty of 4. They need to double crit here. I can't give them any threat, so they have to get double crits here. 11, they might do it. Hold on, let's expand out that 11. They got 3 successes, not enough. So what happens? Acheron ducking and weaving. Anti-proton beams fire across the bow, through the nacelles, just barely missing you as the Acheron gets to the transwarp conduit. But now comes Vauban's chance to shine.
It's crunch time, Lieutenant.
So Vauban, no pressure. This is a control and a con. The ship will assist you with a sensors con. It is a difficulty of 4.
Can I give Vauban a point of determination by using my required to take command role benefit?
Yeah, you quite literally can just point at her as commanding officer and say, "Here, you get my determination." And then you have veterans, so you could re-roll and get that right back.
How do I roll a single die again? I can't remember.
/R space however many dice you want to roll.
1d.
So for this instance, 1d20. Yeah, you actually get the determination right back.
Ace. So, Vauban, Lieutenant, crunch time. Have my determination.
And there's a lot of action going on in engineering, I would say, as everyone is occupied with both boosting the impulse engines and Vauban trying to get the tachyon pulse online.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So it was control engineering, yes?
No, control and con.
Control and con?
Mm-hmm. At least that's what the new rules say about tachyon pulses. It's all con, unfortunately. But the good news, you have a focus, so, you know.
Yes.
But again, it is a difficulty of 4, and the ship is assisting with the sensors con. So maybe roll sensors con, and we'll see what we're at.
We've also got 3 momentum if you want to take 2.
I mean,
It would be 3 momentum for 4 dice total.
I also have a determination, so I think I will also use that.
Okay, which value are you calling upon?
Oh, Oh dear.
Personally,
Something out there is calling and it's the Borg.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking actually, but I can't really justify it really well. Okay, so I guess not.
No, I think something up there is calling or thinking out happens outside the box. Both could apply here.
Okay.
But yeah, one other thing I'd like to point out about Vauban, you have the pass the red line talent, which if you opt to increase the complication range by 2, you could potentially succeed and get bonus momentum to immediately create another trait, adding to the structural integrity, if you get my meaning.
I thought that
Do
was.
it. Do it.
I wasn't sure if that like applies to tech that is that we know. I thought that was more like stuff that we don't know.
No, I mean technically advanced technology, transwarp stuff, and shoring up against transwarp effects. I qualify that as advanced technology.
Yeah. Okay. And then yes, I think I would like to do that.
Okay. So your complication range will be 18 to 20.
Okay.
And then are you
So
going
I
to
put
spend
it
the
on-
3 momentum for 4 dice?
For 4 dice. And am I using the value now or not?
That's up to you. If you use it before the roll, it gives you 2 free successes to start. If you use it after the roll, it lets you basically reroll as many dice as you wish.
It's just I really can't justify it in terms of which of the values I have. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I mean, I've given you a point of determination, so you get
That's
to choose
true.
that straight away anyway.
Yes. Okay. Should I pick the trait first
It's
or?
entirely up to you. Do you want to get a big success, or do you want to try and avoid any complications?
Because, yeah, past the red line triggers if you succeed is the key word there.
Okay. Sorry. Just complicated stuff.
Yeah, it's all good.
Apologies to the viewers. Okay, so I'm using a focus. It's complication range on 18, and I'm using 4 dice. That's okay. I'm just gonna roll.
Okay. That is 3 successes with a complicate. Well, actually, hold on. Did you use your determination on this or no?
I mean, not my own, no.
You would have used Soja's though.
Yes.
Okay, so then that 20 is actually a 1. So that is 4 successes from you, 1 success from the Acheron. You now have 1 point of momentum. So yes, you do get to decide what you want your trait to be. Do you want to shore up your structural integrity field? Do you want to get going faster through the transwarp conduit? Totally up to you.
Okay, I was considering improving our structural integrity some more, but I think right now we have more pressing issues. And because specifically engines and the power systems of the Acheron are specifically Alien's speciality, I would say she managed to get some more speed out of the engine. So let's say overclocked impulse engines right now.
Love it. Love it. All right, so again, narratively, what happens is Vauban basically steers the ship from engineering. We see that a beam lances out from the Acheron's main deflector to impact where the transwarp conduit is. The conduit opens. The Acheron zooms past the cube into the conduit. Conduit starts to close behind you. Now,
And Samara. Oh,
that's what I was going to ask, is Samara and Soja, do you wish to pull a Janeway and collapse the conduit behind you?
Soldiers already said that it's not. They would be interfering with. I don't know actually. Right, he's torn because there's the wannabe starship captain and then there's the military officer. The military officer is like, of course you collapse it so that the enemy can't follow you. But also he doesn't want those 2 ships to be lost. Those 2 innocent vessels just have no fighting chance and trap a Borg cube in that area of space to fight the Bavarians. So he's very conflicted. In fact, I'm going to say he's got a moment of he doesn't react. He's too conflicted.
And Samara will just say, "Oh God, how do I phrase this to get him going?" Captain, the Borg are there. Those 2 ships are assimilated. We need to take this down or their species will fall. The Bavarians will take care of the Borg. We need to make sure that the Borg don't get any other reinforcements. We need to close this now. Yes or no? Daze him!
That snaps him back and makes him think. He goes into tactical mode, and it just says collapse the tunnel behind us.
All right.
And that's what she tries to do. So,
Torpedoes?
yes, I'm going to take a momentum.
So just to let you know,
Yep.
torpedoes, instantly firing torpedoes, I instantly get 1 threat.
Yep,
If you
no
want
problem.
to fire multiple torpedoes, aka a salvo, which is what would be required, I get 2 more threat.
Yep.
Okay. So, Samara, this is a control and a security. The ship will assist you with a weapons security. This is a difficulty of 3.
That's not a problem. I'm going to use... I'm going to blow the value because she wants this to really wants this to hit. Always expect the unexpected, because she mentioned earlier that the Borg, her first thought was the Borg could come, and we've got Starship Tactical Systems as a focus.
Mm-hmm.
You got 1 success from the ship.
Yep.
Thank you. I haven't got anything else. Right, I can re-roll this because I've got tactical.
All right, well, that's 5 successes. That gets you 2 momentum back.
Okay, yeah, I think that's... And how do I... Is it roll 1d20? 1d20 for veteran?
/ roll space 1d20, yeah. And you get it back. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So again, narratively, what this looks like is as the Acheron is passing into the transwarp conduit, Samara fires off a salvo of quantum torpedoes that destroy the supporting ring that is the terminus of the conduit. The conduit violently collapses behind you, but you are going like a bat out of hell away from it. So you have effectively sealed the conduit behind you. We now need to talk about what it is to be within the transwarp conduit. And according to the new rules, is that for every hour a non-Borg vessel spends in a transwarp conduit, you must do a daring or control plus con, assisted by the ship's structuring con, with a difficulty of 2. If you succeed, everything's fine. You continue in the transwarp conduit. If you fail, you are thrown out of the conduit and damage is done to your ship. Now, that damage is reduced by the trait you have selected, but it is still a significant amount of damage. So no pressure.
How many hours do we need to be in to get to the Gamma Quadrant?
That is what I was going to address next. So, if you want to just get in the Gamma Quadrant very far away from the Bavarians, that would be a simple hour. If you want to get closer to the Bajoran wormhole, you're not going to be like right outside it, but still closer, that would be 2 hours. If you wanted to follow the conduit all the way to the terminus at the very edge of the Alpha Quadrant, that would be 3 hours.
I, as a player, suggested we go for 2.
I was thinking 2 as well.
I
I
concur.
don't. Is everyone cool with that?
Yeah, plus
No
we get
more.
to explore the the Gamma Quadrant. So yeah.
Yeah.
So let's
My
do
only
that
thought
then.
is... Yeah, 2.
More dangerous option. Let's go.
So
Okay.
yeah, the captain just goes without a moment's hesitation. He says, "Right, we keep going until we've got into the heart of the Gamma Quadrant."
All right. Next question. Who is going to be actually making the roll here? Again, it is a daring or control plus con.
I could try that.
Okay. Azrian, no pressure. I just need to see 2 successes here, and the ship once again assists with a structure and con.
All right.
I'll take the ship.
Can I use my astrometrics focus?
You certainly may.
All right.
But I have
and
3 threat. Complication range 17 to 20. Enjoy.
Gotcha. All right. May I take the one of those momentum to get an additional die?
Sure. And the Acheron's already got you one success, so as long as you get one.
All right. And you said what was the complication range?
17 to 20.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
I'm going to give you a point of determination by using my roll benefit.
All right. Great. So I will use a value. I can't see them because the dice pool is blocking my. But I'll use one of my values. I'll determine it in a second.
Sure.
And that'll be 2 successes. So here we go.
Well, I have good news. If you use determination, that 14 becomes a 1. So that is 4 total successes, but that is a complication. Now, since you have 4 successes and you would be getting 2 momentum, you could just give me that 2 momentum and instantly buy off that complication.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. So, Azrian, you are deftly piloting the Acheron, and it gets a little bit bumpy, but no damage is done. Now comes the hard part, the final push to get you where you need to go. Same roll, same difficulty. Complication range is only a 20 this time. You pull this off, you're out of dodge, you win, quote unquote.
All right. So I apologize. I was recording something when you were speaking.
Mm-hmm.
What's my target?
It is still a difficulty of 2 on controlling con.
All right. And we have no more momentum, right?
You have 1 momentum.
All right. I will spend that last momentum if everyone's okay with that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm out of determination, so I cannot give you a order.
Okay.
And the Acheron does assist once again with a structure con.
Right, I'll do
Okay.
that again
Someone
then.
roll that.
Okay,
Great.
so
Will
that
the Acheron
just need to see
come in
one
handy?
from Azrian here. Nah, all right. So, beautifully well done. Azrian, you eventually start to pull the Acheron safely out of the transwarp conduit as you get closer and closer to the Gamma Quadrant where the Bajoran wormhole is located. The Acheron, there's a little bit of a shudder as you exit the transwarp conduit into open space. And all of you look at your consoles. You are astronomically far from where you once were. And, as an added bonus, you are now within transmitting range of the Bajoran wormhole transmitter.
So Azrael will spin around in his seat with an uncharacteristic confidence. Sorry about the shutter, folks. Sorry about the exit shutter, folks. It's been a while since I've flown through a conduit. And then just go back to the consoles. Good Federation ship. Good Starfleet ship. And then pat it.
That's an impressive display, Mr. Azrian.
Been a long time. But navigating through the stars and listening to what they have to say is one of the things I do, sir.
What's the
So smart.
phrase? Like a bike, once you learn to ride it, you never lose it.
Yes, and looking over Yaquette's shoulders once in a while certainly helps. Their guidance and expertise and knowledge comes in handy, and I really appreciate the way they've configured their displays. Very efficient, Yaquette.
They just nod back.
Soldier addresses. He goes onto the internal comms and addresses the crew. This is the captain speaking. We have successfully made a transwarp jump. We are now within striking distance of the Bajoran wormhole within the Gamma Quadrant. Due to the fantastic skills and efforts of the crew, and I want to single out Lieutenant Aileen Vobon and our non-commissioned officer for their excellent contributions to this effort. We are now within the Gamma Quadrant. We're one step closer to home. Soldier out.
And the cliffhanger we'll end on is the comms officer says, sir, we're getting a hail from Starfleet.
On screen.
And appearing on screen is an admiral, and the admiral just looks like your standard Starfleet admiral, but he says, my God, Soja, is that you? We thought you were lost.
We were lost, but now we're not.
And that is where we'll end today's session. I
And
finally got to
say,
drop a board cube on somebody. Yay.
I did not enjoy that. I thought we were going to get in trouble.
Yeah, we got away pretty easily. In
Scot-free.
engineering, Aileen hugs Shifty and there's cheering and stuff.
Nice. Yeah, I think that's mirrored across the ship as well. Like everybody cheers, kind of a thing. No, Techno and Bean, they did not time travel. They made it where they needed to go. There were no complications rolled. They ended up where they should be.
That we know of.
That you know of. Keyword here. All right.
And we
well,
just have to see if the...
No, you finish your thought.
No, just have to see whether the Dominion have detected us now.
I'm sure it's fine. You're no longer at war with the Dominion. It's fine. It's fine.
Techno Mirror Universe.
Yeah.
I was rethinking of that meme with the are you sure about that? Like the whole last bit.
John Cena just pokes his head through the green screen. All right, so this is where we're going to end today's session. Twitch, stick around because we're going to raid somebody, but YouTube, we'll see you later. Bye-bye, YouTube.